Hey, how's it going? Happy New Year. Welcome to News Acc, Wednesday, 12th of January 2022. Looking for the papers as always. First up, New York Times, Sleepy Joe banging on about voting rights. Down here, COVID, fire in the Bronx, Putin, Ukraine. Wall Street Journal, unvaccinated tennis player. Inflation line go up, hospitalization line go up. The Vatican is losing in Latin America. Apparently, 1 million Brazilians have joined an evangelical or Pentecostal church since the start of the pandemic, something that's repeated all across Latin America. So, bad times for Pope Francis, bad times for the Vatican's bank balance. USA Today, 9 out of 10 Americans agree there's a mental health crisis in the country. People, of course, see there being different reasons for it. Some people think the reasons are downward mobility, material conditions. Other people think the reasons are wokery and anti-fa. Story in the middle about Syrian refugees. Down the bottom, 14-year-old girl shot dead by the LAPD. Sorry to hear that. RIP. Daily News, fire in the Bronx. 200 Rikers inmates on hunger strike. They're not technically on hunger strike. They are getting food from the commissary. The reasons they're striking are the unsanitary, dangerous, violent conditions. COVID. Half of the prisoners got COVID, haven't been allowed out in weeks because of quarantine, and also a lot of the prison officers are missing and out of work, so that's exacerbating all the above conditions. National Post Canada, Quebec plans significant tax on the unvaccinated. The society being split into the taxinated and the untaxinated. Lovely. Grandma from Cuba is 20 years since Guantanamo Bay, so over on the left story but that says there are already 20 years of scandalous abuses in Cuban territory illegally occupied in Guantanamo Bay by the greatest violators of human rights in the world. Yes, I mean, probably the Brits would give the Yanks a run for who is the greatest violator of human rights in the world, but it's a close call. Down the bottom, quote from Fidel, finally, how can the imperialist government that maintains a military base by force in our territory speak of human rights? Yes, how can they, Fidel? Thank you. Star for South Africa, corruption, schools, Jerusalem Post, no lockdown on the way. Down the bottom, the biggest cause of death in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, in 2021 was suicide. Those numbers, of course, pale in comparison to the innocent men, women and children of Palestine murdered in cold blood by the IDF. Tehran Times, something about spies on the left, Boris on the right, Russia. The Hindu, imploded the BJP ahead of polls. Senior minister quits the UP government. So BJP is Modi's party, right-wing Hindu nationalist. This guy has defected and joined the Samajwadi party, who are socialists, so I'll do the club mate. The Australian unvaccinated tennis player, staff shortage, global times with China. Daniel Ortega on his 4th straight run, this time as president of Nicaragua. Pretty easy when you lock up the opposition. Scotsman, Boris Johnson, was he at the party or not? I mean, the party was in his own house, so presumably. Irish Examiner, golf, COVID, car prices line go up. Irish Times, some anti-Sinn Féin opinion piece. Close contacts have isolation period. Okay, continuing trend across Europe. You don't have to wait as long before you can go back out and reinfect people. Irish Daily Mail, we must get back to work. Yeah, journalists must get back to work and write real articles rather than just repeating pro-business propaganda. Down here, some lad got a pig's heart put in his chest and saved his life, so good times for humans, bad times for pigs. Irish Sun, celeb, thirst posting, some lad suing because he got attacked by a stag. Financial Times, more than half of Europe's going to get COVID in the next 2 months. Alrighty, Boris Johnson in the middle. Down the bottom, Citadel Securities have sold off a big stake, which leads the way for an IPO. They're one of the biggest market makers, is what they're called in America. They deal with 37% of retail stock trades. So the people who the stake has been sold to, one of them was the founder of Ethereum. So take from that what you will. The Guardian, Boris. The Times, Britain leads the Northern Hemisphere in outpacing the pandemic. Okay, that's a bit of a bone of contention. Just one professor came out and said this, and the WHO said the virus is not really endemic yet because that would mean you have stable circulation of the virus in predictable levels, and that's not happening. There's a policeman knocking on the door number 10, probably wondering when the next party is happening. Can they get an invite? Independent, 4 stories on top, politics, refugees, Ukraine, football. There's a woman in the middle, Fiona Hine. She's an anti-vax, anti-COVID agitator, let's say. She's organising a mass non-compliance protest later this month. Interesting enough, she said, after months and months of research, sat at home during lockdown, living on my own, I had nothing else to do. And I was an events manager previously, so my job was one of the first to go. And I ended up getting arrested at a protest because I refused a dispersal order under the coronavirus legislation because we were still technically in lockdown. And yeah, having been arrested and spending 12 hours in custody just for exercising my right to protest very peacefully, didn't resist arrest or anything, I think that was my motivation then to carry on. So there you go, radicalised by our own government. Who would have thought? Daily Telegraph, Boris. Daily Express, Boris. Smart motorways, which are apparently not so smart, a lot of people dying on them. Daily Mirror, Boris. iNewspaper, Boris. Metro, Boris. Daily Mail, Boris. Is the party over? Maybe. Daily Star, Boris again. Well, it might be a new year, but it's the same old crap in the news cycle. Boris is still the Prime Minister, and probably will be until certainly the end of next week when this report comes out, the one that he commissioned, a report into parties he held. Bizarre time. Let's see how it goes. It's January 2022. This is News Acc. If you want to stay off corporate, social, state media for the day, just click the link in the description. Alright, thanks. Good luck.